Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today we are going to talk about foundations of planning. And as you know that planning is the primary function, management function. Everything starts from planning. The other functions like organizing, leading, controlling are related to what we plan. So in planning we set the goals and decide how best to achieve them. The other functions like organizing is allocating human and non-human resources to achieve the goals. And then leading is influencing and motivating people to achieve the goals. And controlling is monitoring and comparing with the standards set in the planning to compare it and then take the corrective action. That is the controlling function. So all the other functions are related to planning functions. So what we are going to do is we are going to learn about some of the things about planning, like why do we plan, what are some criticism on the planning, and what actions we plan. Actions are strategies. So we will talk about some strategic management, and that strategic management process we will discuss. We will discuss something about strategies, different strategies at different organizational level. We will discuss these things, and we will discuss about there are different ways to make plans, different approaches. We will discuss those, and in the end we will discuss some contemporary issues. So this is our today's lecture. The learning outcomes are: discuss the nature and purposes of planning, explain what managers do in the strategic management process, compare and contrast approaches to goal setting and planning, and discuss contemporary issues in planning. Discuss the nature and purposes of planning. Now, what is planning? We already have talked about, which is the primary management function. Everything starts from it. The other functions are related to it because we set the goal in the planning function and then decide how to achieve them. And the other functions like organizing, leading, and controlling are all related to the goals. They are facilitating to achieve the goals. So this is a primary management function. Now, what are the reasons for planning? What are the what we call it benefits? Even we can say that what are the benefits of planning, or what are the reasons for planning? It is we set the standards to facilitate control. As I already said, the controlling function is related to planning, so we set the standards in the planning function, and when these standards are made, these goals or standards, these goals or standards are measurable, and they have also timeline. So in the controlling function, we just monitor that whether we are achieving our progress or not, are we achieving our standards or not. These standards could be financial, could be technical, whatever the standards we have set in the planning function, we then monitor in the controlling function. And in the controlling function, when we monitor, we compare it with the standards we have set in the planning function, and then we take corrective action if the standards are not met. So it's set these standards to facilitate control. That is one of the reasons for planning. Another is it provides direction. It provides direction when we plan, when the organization plan, it gives direction to all the management level. At all management level, they get the direction that where the organization is heading. So when you plan the the plan is made available to the lower level of management, so that and even the employees, so they know that where the organization is heading, and this gives the direction to everyone what to pursue and what is the right direction to take. Another reason or benefit of planning is it reduces the impact of change. It reduces the impact of change because when you plan, you don't plan only for one possibility. You plan what if the things go wrong, what if the things go bad, or what if the things are very good. So the planning is not you are making a plan A, you have plan B, plan C, plan D, etc. And you reduce the impact of change. You have already looked at different scenarios that can impact, and you will reduce this impact of change. For example, if Oman is planning for $60 per barrel, and if they are planning it properly, that what if the prices goes to $25 or $30 or $70 or $80 per barrel, then how our economy will be affected, because the economy of Oman is oil based, so it is very hard hit if the oil prices goes low. So when you plan, you can reduce the impact of change if you plan with different possibilities or different scenarios. It minimizes waste and redundancy. This is another reason for planning. We know that in many departments in an organization, they may be doing the same thing. They may be collecting the same data, doing similar exercises, and there is a redundancy going on. So when you plan, and everybody knows what other departments are doing, then the waste and redundancy can be minimized. To give you an example of our educational institution here in Sultan Qaboos University, we have this management course in our electrical engineering department, and at the moment 3 sections are running in parallel, and about 98 students are there. Now, it is possible that a similar course is offered in College of Commerce and Economics, and there may be only 10 students registered. Now these 10 students can easily be accommodated in these 3 sections. So there is no need actually to offer a one course in that department or in that college. On the other hand, it is possible that they are offering these courses on regular basis, and there are several courses running, several sections running, and we don't have to offer these 3 sections here. So this is just an example of redundancy. I know that, for example, optimization course run over here in our department, and there is a similar course of optimization in mathematics department. So there is kind of a redundancy. The same kind of redundancies in every organizations occur. Similar data is collected, similar data and similar reports maybe are prepared, or things have been done. So if the planning is done properly, this waste and redundancy can be removed. Criticism of formal planning. There are criticism. It creates rigidity. Well, if the formal planning is done properly, and the plans are made flexible, considering that the environment is changing, then this rigidity criticism doesn't really hold water. Another is it can't replace intuition and creativity. This is another criticism. Again, when you plan, you start thinking, and when you start thinking, you become more creative. So this criticism also doesn't make sense. Another criticism is focuses attention on today's success, not tomorrow's survival. This may be true in certain cases, that the organization is having so much success for the last maybe 10, 15, 20 years that it doesn't consider that some unusual things may happen. So it's possible that the organization may have setbacks. We know that in Oman, for example, we were not really prepared for low oil prices. We were planning, I'm not sure, but I think it was $60 per barrel. Our economy was based on this prices. But now we have seen that the prices gone much lower. It went to around $25 per barrel or so. So in that case, the economy of Oman was going slow, and because it is mainly oil-based economy, and we have seen that its effects were felt everywhere in all the organizations. This was in fact a blessing in a disguise. Now the government has started looking in other sectors as well, not only the oil sector or the energy sector, but they are looking in other sectors as well, and trying to develop that, like agriculture, fisheries, and tourism, etc. It reinforces success which may lead to failure, basically saying the same thing, and this criticism is maybe valid if the organization is not looking into different scenarios and not making plan B, plan C, D, etc. For situations, unforeseen circumstances. Formal planning and organizational performance. Does it pay to plan? Well, the research has shown that those organizations which plan, they do have higher profits, higher returns on assets, their quality of planning improves, and with appropriate implementation. So it really safely we can say that those organizations which are making proper planning, they have higher returns. Explain what managers do in the strategic management process. Now, what is a strategic management? First of all, what is strategy? Strategy is, we said that planning is setting the goals and deciding how to achieve them. Now, how to achieve them is actions. The strategy is an action to achieve the goals. So strategic management is what managers do to develop an organizational strategies, is called strategic management. The strategic management has its importance. It has a positive impact on organizational performance. It prepares managers to cope with changing situations. Of course, you are making the planning and then making strategies for that. And it guides managers to examine relevant factors in planning future actions. These are some 6 steps here on strategic management process. The first step is to identify the organization's current mission, goals, and strategies. So first you are setting the mission, identifying the mission, or doing making the mission statement, and deciding the goals, and identifying some strategies. After that, you do SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis means you do external analysis and internal analysis. External analysis gives us the opportunities and threat, and internal analysis will give us the strength, and weaknesses. After doing this environmental scanning, this SWOT analysis, actually what you are doing is you are doing environmental scanning and trying to find out your strengths and weaknesses and your opportunities and threat, and then you formulate strategies. After doing this formulating strategies, you implement those strategies and evaluate results. In fact, ideally there should be, because it's a process, since it is a process here, management process, there should be some kind of a feedback loop. So when you evaluate the result, you don't stop it here, you go back and you may have to go back here, or you may go back to your SWOT analysis. So we can say go back to SWOT analysis again. That would be the feedback, because if the results are not achieved, then you have to either see that maybe your goals are unachievable, unrealistic, so you may have to change your goals, or it is also possible that the goals are fine. You may have to do again your environmental scanning, do SWOT analysis, and find out your strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats again, and then formulate strategies more realistically. So this is the process continues like that. Now we will look at some of the components here, especially the organization mission, and then the SWOT analysis, and we will then look at this formulation of strategies, different strategies as well. So we will basically looking at this diagram in more detail. Regarding the mission statement, a mission statement is the statement which says that why the organization exists or what it does. So this normally is a mission statement. There is in this exhibit 5.3 shows that the mission statements may include some of these things, like customers, who are the firm's customers, markets, where does the firm compete geographically, concern for survival, growth and profitability, philosophy, concern for public image, product or services, technology, self-concept, and concern for employees. So these are the things which they talk about. For example, the philosophy, they may talk about the firm's basic belief, values, and ethical priorities. The concern for public image is becoming very important, maybe universal. Every organization, or most of the organization, would like to say something about environment. So how responsive is the firm to societal and environmental concerns? Similarly, some organizations will like to talk about their employees. Are employees valuable assets of the firm, etc.? So we will see some of the mission statements. Okay, here it is SQU, vision and mission statement. Now I would like to say that some organizations, they have vision statement and mission statement. What is the difference between them? Vision is normally long-term aspiration of the organization, what they want to achieve in the long term. Mission is what currently they are doing and how good they are doing is mission statement. So here I don't want to read them, but suffice it to say that vision statement is over here is not telling, SQU vision is not giving us that what they want to achieve, for example, in 20 years or so. Maybe it would have been good idea, they would have said that they want to become the best university in Middle East, for example, in 10 years or 20 years, etc. Anyway, let's look at some other statements, mission statements. This is the mission statement of Mac. I'm not going to read it, but Apple, sorry, and because this is not very good statement. Also, it's only talking about what Apple is making. But I like this Toyota statement. It says, Toyota will lead the way to the future of mobility, enriching lives around the world with the safest and most responsible way. So you see over here they have shown their ethics or concern of safest and most responsible way of moving people. Through our commitment to quality, now they are talking about their we can say self-concept, constant innovation, and respect for the planet. Respect for the planet, talking about their environment. We aim to exceed expectations and to be rewarded with a smile. We will meet our challenging goals by engaging the talent and passion of people. So here they are talking about their employees who believe there is always a better way. So you can see that this statement is quite an interesting one, and trying to catch many of the things which we discussed in that exhibit. There's a mission statement from McDonald's. I'm not going to read it. Misak Bank. Etihad Airways. This we can look at that. Etihad Airways' vision is to be the best airline in the world, connecting. So it's saying best airline, connecting the globe via Abu Dhabi. Here they are saying that they are operating from market or their geographic location. They are telling. The airline seeks to reflect its value of Arabian hospitality and warmth. So their ethics and their values talking about, as well as enhance the reputation of Abu Dhabi as world-class business and leisure destination. So you can see that this is also an interesting statement. Now, the second and third steps are actually SWOT analysis. External analysis, we look at the competition, the components of environment, and threats and opportunities are looked at. Now, components of environment we have already talked about in our previous lectures. The components of environment are the demographic, economy, technology, global, and social, culture, political, and legal. These were the components we discussed. These external components can affect the working of the organization. Similarly, competition also is, can affect the organization one way or another, and supplier as well. So all these things one has to look at and see the threats and the opportunities which may be there. So this is external analysis, and in internal analysis the organization look at resources available, the assets they have, and the capabilities they have, and core competencies. Core competencies are basically the major capabilities, what they can do in the best way, and together with that core competencies and resources, it's called the competitive weapons. And organizational strength and weaknesses are then looked at by looking at what they have, the assets, the resources, the capabilities they have. The organizational strength and weaknesses are found. So this is a SWOT analysis, basically looking at the external environment and the internal environment and trying to find out what are the strengths and weaknesses of this organization and where are the opportunities and threats. Now, after doing this external and internal analysis, the organization or the management is in a better position to formulate strategies. And the strategies are formulated at corporate level, and business and competitive level and functional level. We will discuss further this. Then the step 5 is after formulating the strategy, implement those strategies, and step 6 is then evaluate the results by looking at how effective have strategies been, what adjustments are necessary. Then what adjustments are necessary, there should be a feedback loop, and that's what I talked about, that the feedback loop can go back to either to SWOT analysis or to the first step itself. Now we look at we said that there are strategies at corporate level, business and competitive, and functional level. There are 3 levels here: corporate level, business and competitive, and functional level. So we will discuss these formulation of strategies here.